Hello and welcome to Let's Talk. And here we are in Whitechapel Road, outside the council offices of the Tower Hamlets Council. The Tower Hamlets Council is the council responsible for the area which is going to cover where the new mega Chinese embassy is going to be built. And we're speaking to Peter Golds, a councillor who has long been an opponent of the building of this embassy, and he will give us some insights into why. Tower Hamlets is a very unique part of London.
It's one of the most historic parts of London because it's the East End. It's where William the Conqueror built his fortress to oversee the City of London. Many people don't realise the Tower of London is not in the city, it's outside of the city, and our borough takes its name as one of the hamlets of the Tower.
When you first heard that China was thinking to place an embassy in the old Royal Mint building, first of all, when was that, and what was your reaction to that?
It was several years ago, and there had been a number of applications for it. We actually assumed it was going to be a rather nice development, which had gone through, which was some mixed sort of housing and offices, and would have kept the whole area open space because it is extraordinarily historic. The Cistercian Abbey itself, the transept of the church crosses the first three plague pits that were built as a result of the Black Death, and the monks were there to pray for the souls of the deceased this for eternity.
A deadly disease that decimated thousands of people. At what stage did if you like, the more political considerations hit you?
Once one realised the size of it, and when we realised how vast it was going to be, and the secrecy the Chinese were practising, for example, buying up property in the area, and they've taken over enormous amounts of property and land in the vicinity. For example, they own great lumps of St Catherine's Dock. They own the huge hotel that's by Tower Bridge. They bought up an old British Telecom building adjoining the embassy site, which of course has still got all the cables in it and the cabling underneath. And why on earth would any country countenance an embassy of that size with the issues that the Chinese government are well known for their interest in security and their interest in damaging potential rivals? Why would you have an embassy of that size next to one of the world's great financial centres? And I say next door to it, it is 100 yards away from the City of London border.
And I wonder, Tower Hamlets is also very famous for having a very large Muslim population.
Yes.
I just wonder whether the situation of the Uyghurs in Xinjiang is feeding into the political concerns.
We started to raise that. And of course, everything is done in planning law. So planning law says you've got a planning application, you consult people within the vicinity of it. Well, just coincidentally, the point where they stop having to officially consult runs down a road on one side of which is Royal Mint Court. On the other side is the Royal Mint Estate, which is social housing with a substantial Bangladeshi Muslim community. They weren't consulted.
Is there much awareness within the Bangladeshi community of what's going on in Xinjiang?
I think so, yes. The Muslim community does have a diaspora which keeps their ear onto the ground of what is going on. It's often not talked about in government because I think tragically it's pushed under the carpets. People think this is a place a long way away of which we know little. I think members of the Muslim community who are aware of the diaspora and aware of what those people are going through, i.e. they're being force-fed pork, they're being force-fed to drink alcohol, they have been permitted to keep mosques, but suddenly all the top bits of it are cut off. They're having to go through re-education. That sticks in their craw.
And I think there was a stage at which the council gave some consideration to renaming the area outside the embassy as Uyghur Square.
Well, this is the very interesting point. It's very difficult to rename a road, but there is a section of it that is adopted but is unnamed. It's the section where taxis stop, and it's not very long, and it's still on our agenda. Were this to go through, then there will be a campaign to rename it, and Uyghur Road or Uyghur Place is one thing we've thought of.
I think Hong Kong Road has come up.
Hong Kong Road, yes. There's all sorts. The Chinese diaspora have got a list as long as your arm of potential names for it, of people who've been thrown out by the Chinese Communist Party and have nothing to thank them for.
My name is Mark Nygate. My job is normally management accountant, but I'm also the treasurer for the Royal Mint Court Residents Association. I've been living here for 26 years. I moved in October 1998. All right. So when you come through here, you've got a closer look at Embassy House. So this is where they will be living. You walk through here, you can feel how close it is. This is my flat, and this is the block I live in. There are 20 flats in this block. Our block is 8.5 metres from the fence, which divides us from the embassy land. That was one of our main points at the inquiry. Too close, there's no privacy. We've asked for more security, they've not acknowledged it. They don't seem to acknowledge that there are 100 flats and 100 families living on this estate. It's also people's privacy around here. And these days with the image recognition and AI, even the way you walk can sometimes tell you who you are. It's just crazy. I am very worried, very worried. Nothing they've said has given me any comfort. He worries about what could be misconstrued, about just walking on our estate, just walking around, doing a bit of gardening, taking a photo could be taken as being something completely different. I take a lot of photos, so if I'm taking a photo there and somebody looks at it and says, hey, he's taking a photo of us, they'll get the concern there's something spying going on. They'll send staff around. Because they're on our land, they can just walk in. And then who knows where it goes from there. I think they're using a bird feeder to pretend to be doing something else. You'll be thinking every step of the way, you'll be thinking, am I doing something that's going to raise suspicions? But I live here. Why should I have to worry about that? But in reality, it's not the right place for an embassy, any embassy. You see how close the roads are. You can see the security issues. It's not the right place at all. We were very disappointed here. We feel that actually the councillors on that planning committee have been bypassed. We could go to our MP, but our MP works with Angela Rayner. She's like an under-secretary to her, so she can't get involved, so we can't go to our MP. The councillors have been bypassed. Well, it's outside the council's remit now, so it is down to the government to make a decision. I don't know. We have to wait to see what comes out of it. It's not the end of the fight, but until we get Angela Rayner's report, I think we've got then 6 weeks after that to put in an appeal. We'll see what the report comes back at, and then we'll have a conversation with the other residents and the other associations, make a decision on how we're going to go forward. The big problem has always been when you've got barristers, you need money. And we didn't have enough money until recently, until the crowdfunder and the Hong Kongers put the money in to help us out. The majority of the money will go to fund our legal fees. If just so happens that Angela Rayner agrees with us and the embassy decides they're not going to settle here and we've got a pot of money left over, we will refund that money back to the Hong Kongers group because they've been good to us. We would not take advantage of them. We want to make sure that any money left over will go back to them. Some people say we're scaremongering. That leaves a lot of people with problems because we may get a buyout, but living in London, will you have enough money to kind of move on somewhere else? Probably not. All my work's here. That would be completely wrecking my life. So I'm very concerned about my future, very concerned about the future of the estate, very concerned about a lot of the residents' futures as well.
Now, the council has twice rejected this application.
Yes, unanimously.
And for what reasons?
One, we are concerned about security, we're concerned about overdevelopment, the size of it, the size of the massing of the back of it overlooking people on the Royal Mint estate. But in particular, we are concerned about the effect, in which this is a planning matter, of large numbers of people potentially demonstrating can have on the roads. If there are regular demonstrations, when there was the last demo, within 20 minutes, Tower Bridge is sealed off, the highway was sealed off, Thames Street was sealed off, and Dock Street, Lehman Street was sealed off. Effectively, into the city northwards, from the city down towards Westminster, the road leading onto the Limehouse link, Blackwall and Rotherhithe, and of course Tower Bridge. The whole of South East London is a traffic jam, instantly.
And it's definitely a concern among the Hong Kong community here and other people who've opposed the Chinese government, is that it will become a massive surveillance centre.
Of course it will be. The Chinese are notorious for surveillance. And it is interesting that the US Congress has now had one of their committee reports. I mean, the US Congress has considered this embassy. And now we understand that Trump is considered taking us out of security briefings, the Five Eyes.
Yes.
Well, what's that all about?
My understanding is that the police have withdrawn their objection, but we've heard nothing further after the security services said they were worried about this. I don't think they have withdrawn their
Not
concerns.
that we know of. And it was pathetic. And Mr. Hodges spoke, and he was emphatic of the security situation. And suddenly, the Metropolitan Police receive a document drafted by a consultancy employed by CCP. And suddenly they withdraw their objection. And it's ludicrous.
And if this was not the Chinese embassy that was being built here, would the same objections apply?
I think most of us will be wary of an embassy because we've now seen in the last 18 months with the regular demonstrations at the Egyptian embassy, the Israeli embassy and the American embassy of what it can do with people's lives, how regular demonstrations can disrupt people's lives and disrupt the lives and the commerce. Can you imagine the US government saying, oh, this is a good idea, we'll stick a mega embassy at the top of Wall Street? Or Macron saying, let's have a mega embassy next door to Notre Dame or the Arc de Triomphe? Because the Tower's a World Heritage Site. It's a symbol of London. And believe you me, if you've got several hundred people standing outside waving banners, and coaches will come up, or tourists will get out of a tube station, and they're going to say, oh, I've got a ticket for the Tower of London. They pick their phone up and they say, oh, I've got 20 minutes to wait before I go in. Oh, there's a demo. What are they going to do? They're going to stand there and do selfies. So instead of there being a few hundred people, it's going to grow. And once the people, potentially demonstrators, know that they can attract tourists, it becomes a tourist attraction.
The council so far has made 2 objections.
Yep.
The decision is in the hands of the Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner.
Yep.
What happens now?
There was an inquiry which we have listened to, which an independent inspector listened to the evidence. The inspector will go away and write a report which will be delivered to the minister, and the minister then makes a decision on this planning application based on, presumably, the inspector's report. The inspector might say, I don't think this is a sustainable application, at which point the minister is going to say, do I overrule the inspector or don't I? The inspector may say, I can see no objection to it, at which point it's green light. However, I don't think we've heard the last of it, because I'm pretty certain there will be legal challenges to it because of the actions of the government.
Where would they come from?
Well, people will seek a judicial review.
And as far as the council is concerned, I know you're a member of the minority party within the council, but do you think there is much pressure on the majority party in the council to be more cooperative on this?
I think there's been pressure on councillors. I think the government are not happy.
Can I just ask you finally, I know that you personally have been active in the campaign to oppose the embassy being sited here. Do you intend to continue
Yes.
campaigning on this?
Absolutely. This is an abomination.
Well, Councillor Peter Goads, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.